Hi folks, it's Jay Thompson back with another video in my Radio 101 for Public Safety Users series. The professional graphics are courtesy of Tom Dover with Dover Training Solutions. I did some of my own in here as well, so don't blame him for the cheesy looking ones. We're going to cover trunking, base stations, and dispatch consoles in this series. Trunking works by grouping repeaters together so users can access the next available one rather than being assigned to a physical repeater. This is kind of like waiting in line at a bank versus a grocery store. If you're over 40, you can probably remember when you went into a bank and each teller had a line, then they went to a single line, so you just go to the next available one. This is how trunking works. These are my graphics, not Tom's. This is an overview of how a 5-channel trunk system works. One repeater in every system is dedicated to data only. It's sending out data and listening for data from units in the field. As I step through this example, you'll see I've highlighted various agencies access the system, FD dispatch and PD dispatch. Then the trash haulers jump in. Now here, FD dispatch unkeys, so that repeater goes back into the pool. FD ops keys up and they get assigned to that repeater. Now FD dispatch comes back online and all repeaters are busy. PD TAC keys up because there are no channels available. They get a bonk signal and they're placed in a queue. Once the trash guys get done talking about where they're going for lunch today, that channel unkeys and the PD TAC channel is removed from the queue and assigned that repeater. In conventional systems, PTT means push to talk, but in trunking it means permission to talk. You don't get to access the repeater immediately when you hit the push to talk button. The control channel sends a stream of data we call an outbound signaling packet. The portable or mobile radios in the field send an inbound signaling packet when they want to access the system. RFSS, radio frequency subsystem, decodes the data from a radio to determine the type of call. You can have an emergency call if they hit the orange button, a private call which is just one radio to another, seldom used in trunking systems because you have to key in the individual user's ID to do that, or a group call, which is what you're most familiar with when somebody keys in to call dispatch. This series of slides shows the power on sequence for a radio out in the field. SU means subscriber unit. When the radio is first turned on, it starts scanning for a control channel, and once it finds it, sends a registration request back to the system. The system will validate the serial number and verify it's not a stolen radio, and then send a response. Based on the talk group selected by the channel knob, the radio sends its group affiliation request, which is then acknowledged by the RFSS. This process takes a few hundred milliseconds per radio and also server processing time and requests. It may tie up a system if a lot of units are trying to turn on all at once. This next slide has a note from the Fort Lauderdale Airport shooting after action report. I call it violating the 6P principle, or proper planning prevents piss poor performance. I won't read it to you, I'll just leave it on the screen for a couple seconds. You can hit the pause button to read it all the way through. When a radio keys up, it sends a group request into the system on the control channel. If a repeater is available, the control channel will send out a channel grant and all the radios on that talk group will switch over to the voice repeater. The system monitors the voice repeater to know when the transmissions are finished so it can put the repeater back in the pool. The system uses two methods to monitor the voice repeater to know when to bring it back into the pool. Transmission trunked means as soon as the radio unkeys, the repeater is put back in the pool. Message trunked lets the repeater stay keyed up for a few seconds, called hang time, expecting a response from another unit. Even though trunking has many advantages, it also comes with its own set of woes. Once the system is filled, the next user gets a bonk signal and gets placed in the queue, as I mentioned before. Talk groups can be assigned priority levels, and this helps reduce the wait time in the queue for users who need to get more immediate access. This level of prioritization proved very handy during the I-35 bridge collapse in Minneapolis. This is from the After Action report. The purple line shows the approximate time when the bridge collapsed. You can see a dramatic increase in the number of push-to-talks. They doubled in the first 90 minutes. This shows the max and average queue times for radios trying to access the system during the bridge collapse. The report states that in the site that had over 10,000 push-to-talk requests in the 12-hour period from 1800 to 0600 the next day, only 38 users had hold times of 10 seconds or more. The spike you see in this chart has been attributed to a DNR officer who had a lower level of priority. That's why the queue time was approximately 95 seconds. Failsoft is the condition that happens when the repeater controller goes offline. Radios are programmed to detect that and revert to a dedicated repeater channel, basically going into a conventional repeater mode. Usually you can hear a beeping sound when this happens. The disadvantage is that radios may not be grouped logically, and you're going to hear other users outside the standard user group on your channel. Some repeaters could be overloaded while others are underused. Site trunking is a situation where one of the links to a site goes down. This is something you're more likely to encounter than Failsoft. In this situation, the site that's lost its link back to the console acts as a standalone site, and dispatch will not hear the traffic, nor can this be used as part of the voting receiver system. A base station talks directly to portable or mobile units. It does not go through the repeater. It can be a mobile radio or a dedicated radio in a console. Half the power of repeater, often used in a backup system when a repeater fails. Control station goes through a repeater. That's the only difference. Physically, it can be the same radio. Usually has a directional antenna to the repeater and is sometimes turned to lower power. Dispatch consoles are connected to the system through one of three methods: local control, IP, or audio tones. Local control uses wires similar to a speaker mic on a portable radio. It's also called wireline control. Push-to-talk, channel selection, and the transmit and receive audio are just sent over wires to the repeater or base station. This is limited by distance due to cable loss. Tone control uses specific tones to pass push-to-talk and channel selection capability along with the audio. These handsets sometimes look like telephone desk sets with a push-to-talk in the handset. Radio over IP, sometimes called ROIP, changes audio and control functions into an IP data stream. This means any PC with a headset and the proper program and internet access can become a dispatch console. That's it for the trunking episode. Any questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them. support@tacticalrf.com. And be sure to check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching. That's it for the Trunkings episode. Questions or comments, feel free to contact me, support@tacticalrf.com, and don't forget to check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching.